In this video, I'll be showing you 3 changes you should consider if you're retiring with most or all of your money in pre-tax accounts. Because without these changes, the IRS is going to decide how much of your money you keep. And their version is a lot more expensive than yours. Through working with clients who've arrived at retirement with everything in a 401k or traditional IRA, I've discovered that the ones that made these 3 changes in the first few years could keep more over their retirement than the ones who did nothing and waited for RMDs to force the money out. That's exactly why I'm making this video today, to show you exactly what these 3 changes are, why they matter, and how to start executing them before the window closes. By the way, I'm Scott Landborg, certified financial planner and CEO of Sterling Wealth Partners. Let's get right into it. Why pre-tax only can be the most expensive way to retire. Many people spend their entire career doing exactly what they were told. They max out their 401k, they grab the match, they take the tax deduction, they defer as much as possible. It worked great during those working years. The problem shows up the moment you retire. Every single dollar that you pull from those pre-tax accounts, it's taxed as ordinary income. If everything is in traditional accounts, you've got zero control over what shows up on your tax return each and every year. You can't access your own money without creating a tax bill. No Roth, no taxable brokerage, no flexibility. You can't pull from a different bucket to stay in a lower bracket. You can't cover a big expense without spiking your income. You can't manage IRMA or Social Security taxation because every dollar you spend creates taxable income. At 73, RMDs start forcing money out, whether you need it or not. And on a 1.5 million pre-tax balance, the first year RMD is roughly $55,000. That stacks with Social Security, any pension, any other income, pushing you in the 22% or 24% bracket, making up to 85% of your Social Security benefits taxable, often triggering IRMA surcharges that could add $2,000 to $8,000 per person per year in Medicare premiums. The retirees who show up at 73 with everything still in pre-tax accounts and no plan, they get hit with the full force of every penalty in the system. And those penalties, they compound every year for the rest of retirement. So pre-tax only can be one of the most expensive structures. But the good news is you can fix it. Let me show you the first change you can make right now. Change number 1, start shrinking your future RMD before age 73. The size of your RMD at 73 determines almost every penalty you'll face. Bracket pressure, Social Security taxation, IRMA surcharges, and the survivor scenario. And your RMD size is determined by how big your traditional balance is at age 73. One way to reduce that future RMD is to voluntarily take out money now while you still control your tax rate, instead of waiting for the government to force it out later at a rate that you don't control. Reducing a $1.5 million traditional balance to $900,000 by age 73 drops your first RMD from roughly $55,000 to $33,000. That $22,000 reduction in forced income, it can improve your bracket, your IRMA exposure, your Social Security taxation, and your survivor picture every single year after it. The main tool is Roth conversions, moving money from traditional IRA to Roth and paying tax now at rates that you choose. The secondary tool is strategic withdrawals, above what you need for spending, redirecting that money into a taxable brokerage or cash reserves to build liquidity outside of the pre-tax system. Both create taxable income in the year that you do them. And that's the point. Paying 12% or 22% now on money that you move voluntarily is far cheaper than paying 24% or higher on money that the IRS forces out later. The key is starting immediately. Every year you wait, the balance grows and the window shrinks. So shrinking the balance is change 1, but how you shrink it matters just as much as the fact you do it. That's where change 2 comes in. Change 2, use early retirement years to run bracket managed Roth conversions. For many, the early retirement years after your salary stops, before Social Security and RMDs begin, often offer the emptiest tax brackets they'll see. Finding those brackets intentionally with Roth conversions can be an efficient way to move money from pre-tax to tax-free. Bracket managed conversions means that you calculate exactly how much room exists in each bracket after your other income. They convert right up to the top of that bracket without spilling into the next one. The last dollar in that 12% bracket is going to cost you 12 cents. The first dollar in the 22% bracket costs you 22 cents. For pre-tax only retirees, this can be especially powerful because the brackets are nearly empty. A married couple might have $94,000 of room in that 12% bracket. Converting $50,000 to $80,000 per year for 8 to 10 years at 12 to 22%, it can move $400,000 to $800,000 into a Roth. Now, you do have to watch two main constraints. The first, IRMA, because conversions at 63, they affect Medicare premiums at 65, and ACA subsidies if you're under 65. Size each year's conversion to the lower of the bracket ceiling, the IRMA threshold, and the ACA subsidy limit. The pre-tax only retiree who executes this precisely for a decade could arrive at 73 with a completely different tax picture, completely different than the one who converted randomly or not at all. Now that you see how bracket managed conversions work, if you want help working towards your dream retirement as a whole, click the link below to watch my free training where I'll show you strategies to help apply this to your own situation. Change 3, delay Social Security to preserve tax flexibility. Claim Social Security early is one of the most expensive mistakes pre-tax only retirees make. The moment benefits start, that income fills the exact bracket space that you need for cheap conversions. Every conversion after claiming becomes more expensive because it stacks on top of the benefit. It also makes more of your Social Security taxable through the provisional income formula. It's a double tax hit. For pre-tax only retirees, the conversion window is often the best opportunity to build tax diversification. Claiming at 62 essentially sacrifices that window. Delaying Social Security to 67 or 70 keeps those brackets clean during some of the most valuable conversion years. It also increases your benefit by roughly 6 to 8% per year of delay, creating a larger income stream that covers more of your base spending later and reduces pressure on the portfolio. The larger delayed benefit, it also provides a bigger survivor check, which helps protect the remaining spouse in those compressed single file brackets. Delaying Social Security while converting can be an effective combination available to pre-tax only retirees. It builds the Roth they don't have, it shrinks the traditional balance that creates forced income, and supports a stronger guaranteed income foundation. So delaying Social Security preserves the window for conversions. Now let me show you what can happen when all three changes work together. Here's an example of what the 10-year plan can look like. For roughly 60 to 65, you run bracket managed Roth conversions each year, sized below both the ACA subsidy limits and the IRMA thresholds. You fund spending from cash reserves and small strategic withdrawals while keeping Social Security off. From 65 to 70, Medicare has started, so ACA subsidies are no longer in play, but IRMA still constrains conversions. You continue converting up to the bracket or IRMA ceiling while delaying Social Security. At 70, you turn on Social Security at the maximum benefit. By then, you've moved $400,000 to $800,000 from traditional to Roth over the decade, and that traditional balance is dramatically smaller. At 73, RMDs start on the reduced balance, producing $30,000 to $40,000 in forced income instead of $55,000 plus. Social Security is less taxable, IRMA is avoided, and now you have a meaningful Roth account providing tax-free flexibility for the next 25 plus years. Compare that to the retiree who does nothing. They arrive at 73 with 1.5 million or more still in traditional, 55,000 plus in forced RMDs, 85% of Social Security taxable, IRMA surcharges, no Roth, and a much tougher survivor scenario. The lifetime difference between these two paths is often 100,000 to 300,000 or more. Both started with the exact same pre-tax balance. The only difference was whether they made these three changes early or let the system decide. Now that you can see the full comparison, let's bring it all together. why pre-tax only retirees potentially have the most to gain. These 3 changes seek to deliver the biggest relative improvement for pre-tax only retirees because you're starting with zero tax diversification. You're going from no control over your tax picture to full control. And that transformation can be significant. You're not behind, you're not broken. The window between retirement and 73 is finite. Every year you wait may be a year of lower tax conversion space and empty brackets you can't get back. Whether you have 500,000 or 3 million in pre-tax accounts, the 3 changes are the same. Only the scale and the timeline adjust. Retirees who start in year 1 have an opportunity to see potentially better long-term results than those who wait until year 5. The most important thing you can do right now is run the projection. See what your RMDs look like at 73 without any changes. Then compare that to what they look like after 8 to 10 years of conversions. Let that difference motivate you to start. Now that you've seen the 3 changes to consider if you're retiring with only pre-tax accounts, how shrinking your future RMD before 73 prevents the cascading penalties that come from forced income stacking, how bracket-managed conversions during the early retirement years move more money from the government's column to yours at the lowest possible cost, and how delaying Social Security preserves the conversion window and builds a larger guaranteed benefit that reduces income stacking later. You can stop watching your pre-tax balance grow into a bigger tax problem and start building the structure that turns it into a retirement you actually control. If you want help working towards your dream retirement, click the link below to watch my free training where I'll show you how these 3 changes may apply to your situation. See you in the next video.